Introducing an all-new channel, JG9 News, where we talk about all things happening in the NFL today in a completely relaxed, unscripted format. Newest video is out about how the Patriots hired Jerod Mayo as their next head coach. Be sure to check it out if you haven't already. And now, on with our feature presentation. January 14th, 2024. It's the wildcard round of the NFL playoffs, and we've got a game on our hands down in Texas between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. For the Cowboys, they're looking to avoid becoming the first number 2 seed in NFL history to lose to a number 7 seed. It's never happened before in 8 previous tries. It didn't happen in 1982, or 2020, or 2021, or 2022. But the Cowboys, winners of the NFC East against all odds, following a monumental collapse by the Eagles down the stretch, and facing a red-hot Green Bay Packers team led by maybe the hottest quarterback in football at this very moment in Jordan Love, are looking to avoid a place of infamy and are looking to advance to the divisional round. And man, things do not start out well for them at all. I mean, at all. As bad and as poor as you can start a playoff game, that's what the Cowboys did here. As late in the second quarter, the Cowboys find themselves down 27-0. Is this game over by any means? No. Heck, 1 year ago to the day, the Jaguars found themselves down 27-0 at home in the second quarter of a playoff game, and they came back and won. But the Cowboys need to play a near-perfect game the rest of the way to have any chance at coming back. They need to cut this to a 2-score game by the end of the third quarter to give themselves a shot. And the good news for the Cowboys is that after Tony Pollard punches it in from a yard out, the Cowboys find themselves down by 18 points, trailing 34-16. Now, it's time to go for 2, cut it to a 16-point game, and make this game somewhat manageable. And the 2-point play works to perfection. Dak Prescott hits his tight end on a wide-open play, and the Cowboys are now only down by 2 scores. Except, there are not 1, but 2 flags on the play. Because not only do the Cowboys get called for an ineligible man downfield, but they get called for offensive pass interference. And that means that the Cowboys have to redo the try, although this time, it's backed up 10 yards, and is at the 12-yard line. Not easy by any means, but it's the position you put yourself in. You have to get this 2-point conversion, or else nothing changes, and it remains a 3-score game. So with that in mind, let's see what brilliant play Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys have drawn up here. You're kicking the extra point. You know, I wish I could say I was even surprised at this point, but I'm not. That's how much Mike McCarthy has broken my brain. But still, even by Mike McCarthy's standards, you're kicking the freaking extra point? Time is running out, and you're trying to turn a 3-score game into a 3-score game? This play makes no sense. Mike McCarthy, why are you kicking the extra point?
Sometimes certain things go for you and against you.
Here's Aubrey, extra point, hits the post, and it's no good.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something that look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Why did I know this was going to happen? Why did I just freaking know that this was going to happen? Every time the Cowboys play a big game, he has to go and do something stupid from an in-game management perspective. I've done way too many dumb decisions videos on McCarthy to count. So if you want to watch them all, I'll link them in the upper right corner and in the description of this video. But he somehow followed up last year's playoff gaffe against San Francisco with the Zeke at center play and the awful clock management by the 2-minute warning with this, as in an extra point attempt that would have turned a 3-score game into a 3-score game. And I want to clarify something. This decision would have been insanely stupid and still would have made it on here even if Brandon Aubrey made the kick. It's like the Dave Campo extra point in the Cowboys-Broncos game on Thanksgiving over 2 decades ago. It just looks even stupider and funnier that he missed it. But even if he made the kick, this was still a dumb decision no matter how you want to slice it. So with that being said, let's take a look at why kicking an extra point down by 18 with 18 minutes left in the contest is a really bad idea. After this, we need to evaluate the pros and the cons of the two scenarios at hand. Option 1 is what anyone with a brain would have done in this spot, which is to go for the 2-point conversion. While option 2 is what Mike McCarthy ended up doing, which is to kick the extra point. Suppose you go for 2 and you don't get it. Well, that stinks. You're down by 18 points, which means you're down by 3 scores, seeing as the maximum number of points you can score on any given drive is 8, with a 6-point touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Some basic math there, as if you divide by 18, as in the score that you're down by, and 8, as in the maximum number of points you get a number greater than 2, meaning that you need 3 scores to tie the game or take the lead. That's just how you calculate that, but you all know that intuitively by watching football. But if you get the 2-point conversion and successfully convert, you're only down by 16 points now. 16 and 8, divide that, that's 2. That's a 2-score game. At that point, you're right back in it. And at this point in the contest, time is running out. There's only 18 minutes left in the game. With the way the Packers are playing offensively and running the ball and churning the clock, how many more possessions can you realistically expect to get in this game? 3? Maybe 4? It's not as though this was the first half. Time is not on your side at this point. Time is your worst enemy. You need to be thinking about everything as a matter of how many scores you need in order to tie the game. And the 2-point conversion here does that. If you get it, you're now down by 2 scores, meaning there is 1 less possession that you need, and 1 less drive you need to march down the field, and 1 less drive you have to worry about getting the ball back with. Now, let's look at what Mike McCarthy did, which was the awful decision to kick the extra point. And this is not a chip shot extra point by any means. It's not like this was a guaranteed 1 point. This was a 43-yard extra point. Obviously, Brandon Aubrey can hit that, seeing as he's the best kicker in football right now, and was an AP first-team All-Pro this season for a reason. But it's not an automatic shot, especially seeing as the man's missed extra points from a regular distance this season, and missed 2 kicks last week against the Commanders, although one of those was blocked. If you miss the kick, it stays an 18-point game, which stinks, because it means you're still down by 3 scores, and nothing of value was accomplished on that touchdown drive you just went on. But if you make the kick, guess what? It's a 17-point game. Instead of being down 34-16, you're down 34-17. And you know what a 17-point game means? Oh yeah, you're still down by 3 freaking scores! What the heck do you accomplish by kicking the extra point? Even if it works, you still need 3 more drives, and 3 more chances that you're not exactly guaranteed of getting at this stage in the contest to tie the game or take the lead. Last time I checked, the goal is to score more points than your opponent. You score by having drives. You are running out of chances to drive the ball, so you should be doing everything in your power to prevent the need for extra, completely unnecessary drives if you don't have to. Why on earth would you pick this scenario then? The best case scenario in option 1, which is to go for 2, makes it a 2-score game, while the best case scenario in this idiotic option keeps it at a 3-score game. Both options pose the same risk. Both options pose the same exact worst case scenario. So why would you not choose the option that gives you a substantially better chance at winning the contest? And look, I'm not saying that the Cowboys would have gotten the 2-point conversion if they went for it. Not in the slightest bit. It's a 2-point conversion from the 12-yard line, and I am fully aware of that. You don't have a whole lot of plays in the playbook from the 12 on a 2-point try. But when you are trailing late in the contest, there are certain things that you have to do, even if the probability of success on that one individual play might be worse than the probability of success on another play. It's like an onside kick when there's 60 seconds left in the contest, and you have no timeouts, and you're down by 1 score. Are the odds of recovering the onside kick great? Of course not. They're very slim. But the best chance, and quite frankly, the only chance you have at winning the game, is if you try the onside kick and hope for the best. Sure, a traditional kickoff has a better chance of success in terms of field position, but you would be a moron to try it, because you lose the macro goal at the expense of a completely contradictory micro goal. It's the same thing here. The odds of a 43-yard extra point versus the odds of a 2-point conversion from the 12, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. We all know that you have a better chance of scoring points on an extra point from the 25 than a 2-point conversion from the 12. We all know what individual play has the higher success rate. But does the extra point increase your chances of winning at all? Does it substantially cut into the deficit? And does it cut into the deficit in a meaningful way by reducing the number of possessions that you're down by and the number of drives you need to get back in the game? No, it does not. Plain and simple, it does not. And the fact that Mike McCarthy failed to realize that is absolutely baffling. The fact that a longtime head coach who's been doing this for about a decade and a half at this point didn't take this into account and had no awareness of the situation at hand shows just how clueless he is. It's almost like in golf, if you're down by a stroke and you are on the final hole and you need to figure out whether you need to lay up or go for the green. Sure, the layup is an easier shot, has a better chance at working, but you might have to go for broke here, even if it has a lesser probability. It's the same thing here. It's the same exact principle. Mike McCarthy did not follow it. Now, no one asked Mike McCarthy about this decision after the game. But to be fair, number one, this was not the main reason, or even one of the top 5 reasons why the Cowboys lost this game. It's not as though they lost by 1 score. And number 2, McCarthy's press conference was insanely short, as he took just about no questions over the course of his 3 minutes up there on the podium. So I'm giving reporters a pass for this one. Which means that we're left to the imagination as to why McCarthy decided to call the play that he did. Maybe he doesn't know how to do math, which could be true, seeing as earlier in the quarter, with the Cowboys down 27-7, he kicked a field goal to turn the 3-score game into a 3-score game. Maybe he just wanted to boost morale. Maybe his headset was connected to the Impractical Jokers, and he had to do anything that Sal said, no matter how stupid it was. Who knows? We're left to the imagination. What we do know is this. This was an absolutely moronic decision, whether or not the extra point was made. And the fact that Aubrey ended up missing this just makes an already terrible decision look even funnier, and sums up Mike McCarthy's entire tenure in Dallas. A comedy of errors, where every time, literally every time, the game is close and he has a chance to do something, he calls the worst play imaginable and the worst play possible. Now, is this the end of the road for Mike McCarthy as the head coach of the Cowboys? Honestly, I have no clue. On one hand, they did win the division, but there was a lot of speculation around the league that his future would be decided by what happened in the final game of the season. And Jerry Jones was pretty non-committal yesterday when talking about McCarthy's future as the head coach of the Cowboys. He never gave a vote of confidence. So who knows? Me personally, I wouldn't fire him because he's a free content goldmine. I love this man. Every time I'm worried about whether or not I'll be able to do a video about a dumb decision made, I can pencil in Mike McCarthy to do something stupid. Every single game he plays on national TV, every single marquee game, he just keeps one-upping himself with something stupider and funnier than the last mistake he made. He truly is incredible in that regard. I love this man. So what do we learn from all of this? If you're down by 3 scores late in the contest, then don't call a play that will not, even in the best case scenario, reduce the number of possessions that you're down by. If 2 options pose the same risk of not scoring, and highly realistic chances at failure, I might add, but one option poses the possibility that you cut the deficit in a meaningful way and reduce the number of possessions that you need to score and come back, and the other option does not do that, then choose the first option. If time is running out, and you're running out of possible possessions, then you need to do everything in your power to reduce the number of possessions that you need to win the game. To do otherwise is coaching malpractice. If you're down 17, it's a 3-score game. If you're down 16, it's a 2-score game. And if you're down, you want to be down by the least amount of scores possible. The difference between 18 and 17 and the difference between 17 and 16 is stark. There's a very big difference. Pick the 17-16 option, not the 18-17 option. And if you can't do basic math like that, and math that even Jack Black as Professor Schneebly could do without turning it into a song, then maybe it's time to look at a different profession, because you're clearly unfit to be a head coach and take a team to the next level. Because when all of these elements are in play, You can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gator 9 merchandise by going to jj9shop.com, and be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Join me every Wednesday night where we'll play NFL Trivia for cash prizes at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. To learn more about the history of college football, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To learn more about the history of Major League Baseball, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 7. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.